Banished Souls here, this is your Captain Cryptic Gaming. So, what do you do when you're starting off in the game and you are wanting to farm silver? Well, you should be running a lot of the missions back at the blacksmith and Skurlock. That's my recommendation to you. You're going to get the highest silver payouts. You're going to get the biggest infamy payouts. If nothing else, you can tootle around Red Isles or the coast of Africa. I recommend shooting the Beddards. You're going to get gold from them. You're going to get weapons from them that you can stockpile for later. So that's going to be a good thing. Now, if you're just coming into the infamy, what you want to do is you need to be in a brigantine or a snow, or try to get that bark opened up in the past. You should be able to open that up over a weekend with a pretty heavy grind. Now, I understand there's a lot of people that can't grind the game like that. That is just part of an RPG, unfortunately. We can tell you how to speed up the grind through the past, which is to destroy as many ships as possible. That's going to give you the infamy where you can grind out that stuff pretty quick. Run the easy 2000 SPs that are not very complicated. It's pretty straightforward. What you don't want to do is start grinding out the job board where you have to run 10 missions on it or 15 missions on it, because what's going to happen, you're going to get sick of that pretty quick. And it's only 1000 SP payout. So that's one token, in case you're wondering. 1000 infamy equals one token, or 1000 SP equals a token. So figure it out. How do you want to go about that in the end game? Just blowing up small ships is a great way to do it. That's going to help you progress, where you can open up some of these weapons that you see in the past, the ships, the schematics, the Lapontent schematic. That's going to make destroying ships easier. Every ship, not just the Pestilence fleet. It's going to make so you can see their weak points, but it is not going to do anything for you if you don't get it. So that's something you got to get, something you're going to have to grind out. My understanding in the game is if you miss a season and you missed a grind, then you're going to miss out on it for a while. Eventually they'll bring it back around. So something to look at, something to think about too when you play this game. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that is a great thing, because when it comes to any kind of MMORPG, you're going to end up with a situation where people are just going to have better stuff than you, and that's going to be one of those situations where it's going to lead to one of those situations where you're going to always have people who complain about the grind of an RPG game. That's what RPG games are. When they started going to pay to win, okay, what we call pay to play or pay to win, where you could just buy your way through the game, it's not really fair to the other people. So I was really happy to see Ubisoft go that direction with this, where you're not going to be able to just come in and just buy everything. I will admit there's one thing I'm kind of disappointed about, but I'm also slightly excited because I'm hoping it means something. They're going to make it easier for you to get those drops of those top tier weapons. Now, when I'm talking about top tier weapons, we are talking about the meta weapons, the end game weapons, the weapons that you get in the smuggler's den. You have to go in there to the black market. You have to earn up the 8s or the sovereigns to be able to purchase those weapons. And we have all been there at the beginning of that grind to make it happen. We all had to go through it. But what they're doing starting this next update, 1.4.1, or 1.4.2, I think is what they're calling it now. They're coming in and they're going to increase drop rates after you have all the cosmetics from the bosses currently running, be La Peste and Mangoden. Once you have the cosmetics, it's going to start dropping weapons for you. And they're going to up the amount of drops that you're getting through mystery boxes as well that you earn from those bosses. So that means you're going to be getting those weapons that we spent weeks grinding to earn for free. But when they typically do that in an RPG game, understand, I know the frustration of it, but that's just part of being in an RPG game. That typically means when you start seeing that happen, you start seeing that they're buffing the enemy ships, meaning that they're increasing the damage that they do, they're increasing the amount of damage that they can take. When you start seeing that happen and that top end game gear starting to drop more recent for people, it usually means they're bringing out new content for us at the top, which will be, hopefully we're going to be getting some larger ships here pretty soon. I know they've talked like season 2. I'm hoping to actually see something here in season 1 would be amazing. We need something. We need to be able to up our armor, up those hull values, if that means upgrading the ships. I know they've talked about upgrading ships, so I'm almost expecting that is what it's going to be in the mid-season content. Said they got something special for the guys at the top end, so I think that's what it's going to be. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see, obviously. But as of right now, it sounds like there's quite a bit of new features coming to well, maybe not new features, but easier to get to on the greater features of the game for everybody on the ends that's just starting out and just coming into Kingpins, or maybe you haven't reached that rank soon. So this video is not going to mean much to you, but all this bay here that I'm traveling through, right through here, if you're starting off, you want to make sure you're in a Hulk or a Cutter or sloop to run these areas, because if you're in a better, you're just going to get smoked. You're going to see a lot of these ships like this over here. So this is actually a broadsider. It looks like a barge is what that looks like, which is pretty reminiscent of a Hulk, except it's got the single mast instead of the double. So yeah, new stuff coming all the way around, it sounds like. Keep your head up to you daily grinders, man. We got a lot of them in our Discord, and I know the feeling. I know a lot of guys that say, it feels like we're working in game, grinding in game with no end game. But understand there is an end game. They're keep being tight-lipped about the releases and stuff as to why they are. That's anybody's guess. But as much negative press as this gets in the gaming community for what is really a very well balanced game for the most part. Every game's going to have its issues, but they've done a good job of fixing most of them. We do have a few little issues that pop up after updates sometimes. It seems like they've got pretty much most of them fixed. On occasion, you might get to a location and it's not letting you communicate with the base or with the person and stuff. Just leave the area and come back to it. Typically, it's going to clear it out. If nothing else, you can change contracts and go back to them, and it typically is going to make it where you can actually interact with them. So, some little tips of the trade for you. So as soon as we can get back to St. Anne, I want to show you what you folks in the end game can be doing the most effective way to keep silver. Understand the question that I'm responding to. Appreciate you commenting in. What is the best way for someone who has limited time, meaning not a whole lot of time, to grind silver in this game once you've reached the end game? Because you got to keep those factories running to keep the 8s coming in so you can earn those sovereigns to open those new weapons and ships and things that they're going to be releasing here before too long. So that's what our end game grind is. We just don't know what the items are, but that's why you're grinding this stuff, guys. You need to understand that. I expect season 2, some of the gear is going to be pretty expensive because, man, some of these guys have earned like upward of 10, 15, 20 million pieces of 8. That's impressive. They hit those 10s, they hit that stride, and before they went through and changed the economy, they were raking it in, man, for a long time. So that was pretty cool. And then, of course, people are running the Helm wagers, which doubles whatever you're bringing in. So those are great things as well. Working together as a team with that's really going to bring in those coins as well. But the question was for silver. Well, to do the silver, you are going to have to grind out Helm materials. What do I mean by grind out Helm materials? So we have white skull rum here. That's made from sugarcane. We're going to take that. Then we're going to convert it over into the gold skull rum. Now I understand it's a 2-for-1 deal, but if you have your book upgraded on the desk, you might get that extra drop. In fact, you have a pretty good chance of getting an extra drop about every 3 or 4 pieces that it makes. So it's going to kind of balance out for you. Then you'll sell that gold skull over to Skurlock for silver. Now you're going, okay, but where do I get those materials? Well, I'm going to show you. If you're a single player, what you don't want to do is come over to Fort Granby or Fort Praxco. You can do the daily rogue hunts. This is going to give you that Gannet Saltpeter, the special items that you need, a Wyvern's Breath and those Orca mechanisms, or even the Eel's Twine. It's going to give you that stuff. So those are pretty good. You want to run those, but not the Fort Plunders for materials. I know you're looking at it and going, wow, that's 200 or 400. They even have some that come up where they're like right at 2,000, which is pretty cool. What you want to do to get materials and get them cheap, because remember, you're wanting to conserve silver. You want to come over and you want to accept all the roving deals that you have, preferably for the same location if you can. And you're going, now, I'm spending silver to do this. No, you're not. Now, they did fix part of the feature. This used to be broken. It would pay double and sometimes triple the values, but they have fixed that. So I knew that wasn't going to last in the game because it was going to make this way too easy. but you can still use it and get the contract value for free. So that's going to give you some pieces to where you can actually come in and make some gold skull products. Or if you're up in the north, it's going to be the black skull. So you'll have like the black lotus opium and then the black tobacco, I believe it is. No, it goes to silver after the black on the tobacco. But you'll make the full amounts. Okay, so we're going to set sail. We want to see if we can find a liaison ship. This has gotten harder to do because so many people are just out here smoking the liaison that don't even have the contract. They're just kind of waiting for it to spawn in so they can kill it. And those types of people need to find something to do with their time other than sit there and grief other players. So my guess is this guy right here is actually running the same Helm wager I'm running. Now you can work this in conjunction with people as long as each of you, them star charts, they could go ahead and take those off the map. You can't see them. But yeah, as long as two people get you get a shot in on it, it's going to complete your contract when it gets destroyed. The question is, can you get there in time to get that shot? Especially with the mortar, because that could take a little bit of time to get down range. So once it's destroyed, it should complete both of our contracts. It did. Okay, so now what you can do, you can either come up here and go ahead and grab the materials he's got, which isn't going to be much. Some coins, some cannonballs, and some sapphires. We're over encumbered. I should have checked our cargo space before we come out here. But we filled up with all of those contracts. We saved our silver. It was awesome. This guy understood what was going on with it. Like I say, as long as each person gets a shot, if there's a lot of you, just shoot the sails. Don't hit it with a mortar. Ben's there's two of us, figured we'd take out 2 mortars there. But you now have all of that material here in your cargo, as you can see. And we want to get that back to dock if we can. Let's see what we've got to swing us down. I don't need that, and I don't need that. I don't need those. Just dump that crap. Okay, so we still have... I don't need the rockets either. We do have guys that run rockets. I'm not one of them. So we did gain a few extra knots there, which is nice. The more over encumbered you become, the slower your ship gets. I don't think it comes to a screeching halt, but that's always a possibility. Okay, so we want to empty out a warehouse here. So then you would go and you would queue all that stuff up. Let's go ahead and clear this warehouse real quick. Or the cargo into the warehouse, I should say. Keep those in my inventory. Okay, we'll go ahead and open that up. Since they've put an open all in, this is just so amazing. I know we used to take and we would have to open them one at a time when the game first came out. And we finally got to where you just didn't have much time to do it because you were constantly grinding silver, and we started running that little perk there. Then they came in and they did fix the situation, but there's still another way, and I'm going back here to show you in the den. So that's the first way that you can get silver. It's not going to buy you a lot. You're not going to be able to run a lot of level 10s with that. So you're going to have to get out here and farm. Now, we used to farm DMC ships, then we got to farming the plague ships, and what I ended up stumbling upon, which actually had stumbled upon it a long time, and it just kind of took me a few days to put it together. Well, more like a couple of weeks. When you come into your smuggler's hideout here, and we could have just fast traveled there, but we got a couple guys like, why do you always run? So, well, because it's fun. So, in the distillery, you want to make sure that you keep those items running, keep it flowing, so it's flowing. We're good on that. This is the secret right here, guys. Order registry. This is where you will need to make sure you've got some run materials to be able to access it and pick it up. but you're going to come in and you're going to look for your roving missions, and you would accept this one. You would accept that one. You could actually accept all of them. I do recommend when you're first starting off, just take one because it can get pretty sticky. What this does is it calls in a fleet of eels on this one. And this one here is going to be a fleet of orcas. Now, what is the orca? The orca is the one that shoots a lethal fin torpedo. And let me tell you, they are rough. The eels, they are going to have a small cargo ship that has a sharpshooter, and they are using a double winch ballista. And if you are not careful, even in the snow, he can almost single shot you with that thing if he hits you in the right spot. They don't miss. So make sure that you're paying attention to those. Make sure that you're bracing. If you hear that freaking ballista that have a distinct sound, you've got time to hit your brace button. As soon as you hear that sound, you better be bracing up on your ship, or he might smoke you out of the water, man. But you would travel down from St. Anne down here into the southern basin and destroy every single Helm rogue that you see. They look like normal rogues except for the sails. They're gold and silver with the Helm insignia on it. And you want to sink those, turn around, grab the materials. And just do that. Just fight your way all the way down there. And when you finally make it down to the liaison, don't sell your material to him, the skull. In fact, don't even put it on your ship. Sink him. You're going to be able to take the 8s that he was going to pay you for the materials. You're going to take that contract value from him, so you've got free 8s. You get to keep your materials to sell to Skurlock for silver. That is how you effectively farm silver in the game. And as you're doing that and you're sinking those ships, not only are you getting raw materials, you're getting silver boxes, which pay out really nice. You're getting a lot of commodities that are going to sell very expensive. You're even going to find some paintings and stuff like that in there too on occasion, because they're fighting amongst the DMC ships on the way to location. And then you're going to end up being able to get cannonballs and stuff like that too. So your cannonballs are going to be getting boxes of 30 to 60 from each ship that you destroy. So it adds up. Now the more cannon, if it's taking you 40 or 50 shots, and yeah, you end up in a hole. But let's face it, it doesn't take that long to take out those ships, especially in the end game content, guys. But I hope this video has kind of helped you out a little bit. We get questions. Some of these things I've covered, but they were covered in very lengthy videos. So we'll try to keep things to the point here in the future to give you some great ideas. But before we close out here, you need to make sure that you are getting this first book to at least a 7. We're going to double check that real quick. Yeah, completing the 7, because that's going to unlock production of Gold Skull rum, meaning that you can sell it for silver. Now, to get into the Gold Skull Gin, you need to be completed all the way through 16. So, as you get those helms, you also want to be bringing up your empire management as you collect the territories, folks. That's just something that you're going to want it to do. You're going to need to do it as well. So, but I hope this has been educational. I hope it's given you some ideas. And y'all have a wonderful day. Comment in below what it is that you love most about the game, guys. Something that you'd love to see into the ship or in here. I know for me it's large ship holes. But honestly, if we have to wait a little bit, but we can just upgrade our ships, something I would really love to see that they hinted around, and I was really hoping we were going to get this past update that we had on Monday night, Tuesday morning, where we can actually upgrade the base stats of a ship. So if you look at, say, the Sambuck or the Snow or even the Brigantine, the base stats is a level 5. We could take it up to a 12, but imagine if we could upgrade the ship to where it actually had a base stat of 10. And then with all of our weapons and stuff on top of it, now you're looking at some good ships. So I'm hoping that comes in pretty soon. I'm hoping that's something going to release. I'm thinking that's the direction we're going while they're releasing the weapons and stuff like they are, because we're going to be able to upgrade those. I would love to be able to see us have, say, a Fire Bombard 3 Tier 2 or Mark 2 or Mark 3 and upgrade each individual weapon into a little bit faster reload. Maybe it has a little bit more effect. I know when you start looking at RPG games, you can go so many different areas. And one of the cool things about one of the other games that we play, I would love to see them bring some of the aspects into this. To say, if you take a staff, you can have a staff that shoots fire, but also leaves a freeze effect as well. So you're getting double damage. I would love to be able to see us take our Zama 3s and not just have that fire impact and that fire ablaze effect, but could you imagine if we could cause flooding like we can the flooding demis that are level 3? They're also great. I use those on my brigantines because it's not a fire ship. So, and when you used in conjunction with the Coronado, that causes the tsunami effect, and it just massively just does so much damage. They don't last long, even in PvP. Another great ship to do. But man, I would love to see where we could upgrade the base stats of the ships. So that's my hopes, that's my wishes for this next update. We will see what all they bring us. As with every patch, they always give us a little bit of information, but they actually do a lot more than what they tell us. So we're going to have, just kind of keep our fingers crossed and see how that works out for us. Y'all have a wonderful evening. You're beautiful people, man.